Lesson number 30 tayo, brothers and sisters, at major prophet, si Ezekiel. Part 1, kasi nga mahaba, 48 chapters ito. So, i-divide ko uli into two. This is another of Michelangelo's painting sa Sistine Chapel, 1510, 16th century, ka-century natin ng discovery of the Philippines, so-called. At ito ang portrait niya kay Prophet Ezekiel. Bakit ko ba pinapakita itong mga art, especially classic art? Dahil, nung unang panahon, especially this period of time, wala namang Bible. No? Ang Bible, Latin. Yung mayaman lang ang makakaposes ng Bible kasi hindi naman, wala pang printing press. No? And then, maliban sa Latin na ngayong language, hindi pa available. Parchment pa yung Biblia, kaya mabibigat. Hindi basta-basta affordable. At maraming hindi literate, hindi marunong magbasa, magsulat. Sa panahon na ito, this is 16th century and even before. So, paano ipinahayag about the Bible? Through art. No? Kayong art, catechism yan sa mga illiterate, sa mga... So, could you imagine the powerful, those are images, no? Powerful, yung art na sa fresco, doon sa wall, knowing, o kaya minsan sa mga panels ng mga kahoy na ganyan, para sa mga churches, sometimes they become decorations, kino-commission, and powerful catechism sa atin, no? Sa mga tao noong unang panahon. Like yung mga procession sa Pilipinas, no? Wala namang Bible noon. Kaya nga, sabi ko minsan nung tinanong ako, paano ba nagsimula yung Biblia sa Pilipinas? We should not disregard yung mga traditions na ginawa before the coming of the Bible in the Philippines, which is very recent. Mga 19th century lang nung pumasok ang Biblia sa Pilipinas, na written na Biblia na i-published. But may mga processions tayo. Nandyan sila Salome, nandyan sila Mary Magdalene, sa mga procession. They are catechetical, no? Biblical figures, especially sa mga hindi nakakabasa ng Biblia, which most of us were not able to do. Kasi, una, Latin yung Biblia, hindi ka naman nakakabili agad ng Biblia, very, hindi lang expensive, rare pa, hindi naman, isa lang siguro ang Biblia sa buong Pilipinas, mga 16th century, as attested dito sa library ng UST. So, those are art is a powerful tool. Okay. Prophet Ezekiel, contemporary ni Jeremiah. So we are in 7th century si Jeremiah, 7th century si Ezekiel, pero moving on to the 6th century, papunta na sa 6th century at the closing of the 7th century and the beginning of the 6th century. At alam natin, yung 6th century, ang event ay Babylonian exile. So, unforgettable. Parang, kumbaga, pandemic na hindi makakalimutan. Tayo ngayon, we will never forget this period of time. No? We are suffering. Katulad noong Babylonian exile, that's an unforgettable event. So, pari din siya. He was a priest. Katulad ni Samuel, Elijah, Jeremiah. So, hindi naman lahat ng mga propeta ay mga pari. There are only, we can enumerate them, like Samuel, Elijah, and Jeremiah. Pero hindi masyadong emphasize yung pagiging priest, not less emphasized than their being a prophet. But gives more details about the temple. Kaya nga siguro yung si Ezekiel describes the temple in detail. He would have known it dahil nga he's a priest, no? Including floor plans and designs, para siyang architect. We know his father, his name is Buzi. Nag-asawa siya, married, but hindi emphasize yung role ng kanyang asawa. His wife died while they were in exile, and walang nabanggit na mga anak, children, unlike kay Hosea, unlike kay Isaiah, mga anak sila. Ezekiel, ibig sabihin, is El ay God. Okay? So, Ezeki o Zek, Hazak means to be strong. So, pwedeng God strengthens, or it's a wish, it's a prayer, may God strengthen, or God is my strength. Then, he was a prophet from July 13, 593 until 573. Bakit naman eksakto ang date? Yes, rare sa mga book na may mga precise dating tayo or absolute dating na tinatawag. You have that in Ezekiel. Very precise yung mga dates niya. Kaya yung mga historians, natutuwa sila. Kasi itong prophet na ito, madetalye pagdating sa mga petsa. So we know that he was called on July 13, 593 and became a prophet until 573. So 20 years of prophetic service. We will discuss. We will go through these passages later. This chapter 1 and to chapter 3. He was part of the exiles. Sa first deportation, may dalawang deportation. The first deportation was in 597. So he was already with the exile. He was also exiled. He went to exile and he settled in the land of the Chaldeans, meaning the Babylonians, by the Kebar Canal. The name of the place was mentioned as Kebar or Chebar, na malapit sa ilog or canal, and lives in his own house, according to him, in a place called Tel Aviv. Now, may Tel Aviv sa Israel ngayon. Tel means mountain, Aviv means springtime. So, the name is common siguro. So, kasi ang Babylon ay sa Iraq today. No? So, near the Kebar Canal. And he received his call in exile in 593. So, he was already in Babylon when he received his call to be a prophet. And that is in 593 BC. Now, this is what he says sa opening ng kanyang libro. In the 30th year, in the 4th month, on the 5th day of the month. You see, it's very precise. No? He is using here the Babylonian calendar. Kaya nga, transmute mo into the Gregorian calendar. Yung Gregorian calendar ang tawag sa calendar natin. So, magiging July 13, 593. Okay? As I was among the exiles, yun na nga, kasama sa mga exiles, by the river Kebar, the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. So, yung calling niya would be through a vision. Now, hindi na tayo magtataka, nabanggit ko na noon, yung mga iba-ibang pamamaraan ng prophetic oracles and delivering the message, pwede sa dreams, pwede sa symbolic actions, and of course, common na sa atin, simula pa kay Amos, yung vision. It's a literary style na inanarate ko ang nakikita, but only the prophet is able to see the vision. Babylonian exile, he was with the first deportation in 597, as I was saying a while ago, under King Jehoiakim. At just give you an idea, where is Babylon? This is the Babylonian Empire. During the time of the exile, and you have here Jerusalem. So, he would be coming here and then going there. Of course, hindi ka pwedeng lumipad pa. Lilipad nga siya. We will see later. Pero the usual route would be here, no? Going to the north, then down to the east. So, yan yung fertile crescent, itong movement. May talagang old road ito, no, hanggang sa Iraq. Then Ur, you remember the Pope Francis went to Ur sa kanyang visit to visit the birthplace of Abraham. Susa is Iran, Ektabana is Iran already. So let's go to the call of the prophets, which you will find in chapters 1 to 3. Ito yung topic natin ngayong gabi kasi mahaba talaga. And then I would like to emphasize, kasi nga, first time nyo na marinig na itong mga bizarre na mga pangyayari, dramatic but bizarre, weird yung pagtawag sa kanya. And you will see it later. No? In fact, yung mga rabbis, Jewish rabbis, hindi nila inaalaw yung mga under 30 years old na basahin ito. Reading was banned. Kasi nga, bizarre yung narrative niya. No? You will see it later. No? So, divine vision, may divine vision siya, and it's a prophetic literary style, sabi ko kanina, but note that Ezekiel sees only the Kevod Adonai, the glory of God. He does not see God, but he sees the glory of God. Whatever that means, glory of God, literally it means, Kavod means heavy, yung pagkabigat ng Diyos, yung heaviness of God, no? Splendor of God. No? Ginawa na natin yung glory to God in the highest, ginamit na natin ngayon yan. But what do you really mean by glory? No? Literally, yung glory ay kabigatan ng Diyos. So, he would have a vision, and then from the vision, he would be sent. So, pwede natin sabihin, vision, mission. He is both called and sent. Then, doon sa kanyang call, God hands the prophet a scroll. At nakalagay daw sa scroll ay lamentation and mourning and woe. So, bad news. No? He should eat the scroll. Then, when he ate it, it tasted like honey in his mouth. Parang si Jeremiah. No? Eat the scroll and then it became a delight sa kanya. Warn that people will not accept him, but he must be hard as the hardest stone, which is diamond. So, ito yung summary. Pero we will not only settle for summary, pero ang gagawin natin mamaya, i-detalya natin. So, yung kanyang mission ay double mission. Dalawa. Maging shomer. Shomer, in Hebrew, means security guard. O pagandahin mo ng konti, sentinel. No? Tagapagmatsyag. No? Tagamasid. No? Warns the people versus injustice and idolatry. So, ipapadala siya ng Panginoon para magmamanman siya. He would be a security guard, a shomer. Shomer means the watcher, no? Sentinel. Kasi he sees to it that people would not fall into injustice and idolatry, and warns them if ever they're going to do that. And then he is a roe, a shepherd. Later na ito yung pagiging shepherd niya. Kasi nga, chapter 34 na towards the end. To shepherd the gola. Gola is a technical term ng community in exile. So, pag marinig mo yung salitang gola na manggagaling sa akin, we are referring to the community in exile. Yung nasa labas na ipadala sa Babylon. Babylonian gola, sabi nila. From the trauma, so siya ay magiging pastol sa mga exilees o mga gola na from the trauma of Jerusalem's destructions and the confusion in the Babylonian exile. Para bang mga spiritual leaders natin ngayon, pastor, imam, priest, who are being asked to be a shepherd during this moment of crisis, pandemic. No? Hindi lang dapat naman mga pari lang ano dyan. Nandiyan yung mga spiritual leaders should come out and to be a guide, to be a pastor, to be a shepherd dito sa confusing times na panahon natin. Parang ganun, the trauma of Jerusalem's destruction in 597, 586, 587, and the confusion na mangyayari in the Babylonian exile. God sends him to be a kind of a shepherd, a guide, a pastor. Now, let us go to the vision now. Doon sa call ng prophet, consists of two parts, diba? Vision and mission. So, the vision. At dito niyo mapapansin yung pagka-weird o bizarre ng itong sasabihin niyang vision. To the point na yung mga under 30 years old ay hindi nila pwedeng basahin ito dahil may iskandalo sila. Now, let us see. Kaya sabi ko basahin natin isa-isa kasi nga this is something new to us. As I looked, a stormy wind came out of the north. So the north is up. No? This is Ezekiel having a vision of a stormy wind, a great cloud with brightness around it, and fire flashing forth continually, and in the middle of the fire, something like a gleaming amber. Yun pa lang. Imagine mo na kung ano ba ito, may fire, sa middle of the fire, may kumikinang pa na amber, and in the middle of it was something like 4 living creatures. This was their appearance. They were of human form. So akala ko natin na creatures, pero human form din pala sila. Each had 4 faces, apat na mukha, and each of them had 4 wings. Ano ba yun? 4 faces, 4, and each of them had 4 wings. Di ba dapat dalawang wings lang? Apat ang wings. Their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet ay parang hayop, parang calf. And they sparkled like burnished bronze. Bakal o tanso na kumikinang. So talagang strong. Under their wings, on their 4 sides, they had human hands. Kamay ng tao. And the 4 had their faces and their wings. Thus, their wings touched one another. Each of them moved straight ahead without turning as they move. So, para ba yun? So, kung gumagalaw sila na hindi lumilumay, straight sila na ganon, but they move straight ahead without turning as they move, although magkakadikit sila. Verse 10. As for the appearance of their faces, sabi niya, the 4 had the face of a human being, okay, face of a human being, and the face of a lion, and the right on the right side, the face of an ox on the left side, and the face of an eagle. So, now, I warn you, huwag nyo munang tumalon doon sa New Testament at sasabihin nyo, ay, si Luke, si Mark, si Matthew, katulad ng mga decoration ng churches. Interpretation na lang yun ng Christians later. I-jump nila doon. Kasi gagamitin din ito ni Daniel, gagamitin ito ng Revelation, these images. So, influential yung vision ni Ezekiel kasi hindi lang mananatili dito sa kanyang libro, kundi writers, later on, apocalyptic writers, katulad nung sumulat ng Daniel, sumulat ng Revelation, would be adapting this vision. Pero wag nung italon agad na ito yung mga ebanghelyo. Otherwise, you will be very much confused kasi those are later interpretation na yon ng mga Christians and then ginawa ng art. So, we will not deal with that. But suffice to say, to imagine this pangitain na ito. Such were their faces. Their wings were spread out above. Each creature had 2 wings, each which touched the wing of another, while the 2 covered their bodies. So, yung pair kanina ng wings, pair of 2 wings. Each moved straight ahead. Wherever the spirit would go, meaning spirit can also mean here the wind, no? Kasi parehong word ng wind at spirit. They went without turning as they went. So, yun yung description na naman a while ago. Verse 13. In the middle of the living creatures, there was something that looked like burning coals of fire, like torches moving to and fro. Among the living creatures, the fire was bright, and the lightning issued from the fire. Meron pang, so there was a thunder, a stormy wind. Later on, we will be hearing the sound na babanggitin niya. may fire. So those are natural phenomenon. The living creatures darted to and fro like the flash of a lightning. Kaya nga, sabi ng mga mahihilig maghanap ng UFO, unidentified flying object, sasabihin nila, lagi nilang pinopoint na yung unang mention ng unidentified flying object ay kay Ezekiel. Nakita daw si Ezekiel ang unang nakakita ng UFO, ng unidentified flying object. But of course, that is too much of a interpretation. I don't think that was what is about here. No? It is a vision that has a meaning and a symbol for the people of Israel. It's not about unidentified flying object. Note, in chapter 10, later on, these creatures are identified as, in Hebrew, cherubim. Yung cherubim means those who are near, the near ones. And later on, in between New and Old Testament, sisikat yung mga ito, magiging silang mga anghel. So you have the seraphim, cherubim, pero here they're not angels. Ang angels are messengers. They're not messengers. They are, pwede nating sabihin, elements of the divine abode. No? So, the cherubim. O kung may nag-attempt na artist to portray it, siguro binasa niya, then in-imagine what could have been. So, knowing niya ito. Yung four faces, dikit-dikit sila. Then you have the amber, you have the fire, fiery ang kanilang itsura, and then hindi mo lang paano yung flash of a lightning, yung movement nila. Now, then, second vision. So that's the first vision, the vision of the four creatures. The second vision, ang daming vision ni Ezekiel, kaya magsasawa tayo ng vision ngayon. Dalawa lang babanggitin natin ngayon, kasi we will deal with the others later on. The vision of the wheel. As I looked, sabi niya, at the creatures, I saw a wheel, gulong, on the earth beside the living creatures, one for each of the four of them. So kung apat din yung wheel. As for the appearance of the wheels and their construction, their appearance was like the gleaming of beryl or yung emerald. Saan ba yung maraming emerald? Maybe sa Myanmar, the Burma, no? So, yung green stone, no? And the four had the same form, their construction being something like a wheel within a wheel. Gulong na nasa loob ng gulong. So, imagine nyo na naman. Yung apat na creatures na yon, corresponding yung apat na wheel, but a wheel within a wheel na sabi dito, gleaming of emerald. Appearance was like the gleaming of an emerald. When they moved in any of the four directions without veering as they moved. So kasama nila sa pag-move yung creatures, yung four creatures. Their rims were tall and awesome, for the rims of all four were full of eyes all around. Puno daw ng mga mata. kaya nga, before you reach 30 years old, you should not read this book of the prophet Ezekiel. Mawiwirduhan ka talaga. It's bizarre. Nasanay tayo sa mga propeta na justice, idolatry, mga ganyan. Pero this one, we expect na at saka hindi lang isang beses, madaming ilang visions niya dito And when verse 19, when the living creatures move, the wheels move beside them. So sasabay sila. And when the living creatures rose from the earth, the wheels also rose. So parang connected yung wheels doon sa four creatures. And over the heads of the living creatures, there was something like a dome. shining like crystal, spread out above their heads. Verse 24, and when they move, nandito na yung sound that I was talking about. A sound of their wings like the sound of mighty waters. Madagundong, like the thunder of Shaddai. Or another translation of Shaddai is Almighty. The sound of tumult like the sound of an army. We cannot have this sound anymore kasi wala na tayo sa panahon na yung nakakabayo, yung mga army na palapit ng palapit. Well, you have that in movies, no? Na dahan-dahan na tumult o yung sound ng mga kabayo na palapit ng palapit, na sound of war. When they stop, they let down their wings. Siyempre, lumilipad eh. And above the dome, over their heads, there was something like a throne. Ito na. In appearance, like sapphire, and seated above the likeness of a throne was something that seemed like a human form. So above is a throne, and dun sa throne, mayroong nakaupo, something that seemed like a human form. Upward from what appeared like the loins, I saw something like gleaming amber, something that looked like fire and close all around, and downward from what I looked like loins, I saw something that looked like fire, and there was a splendor all around. Or there was lightning, brightness all around. You can just already have guess here that he's talking about the divine. He does not see God directly kasi yun nga, sa tradition, you do not see God eye to eye, face to face, otherwise you die. But he would see the splendor, he would see the glory or the kavod, like the bow. So maybe rainbow, like a bow in a cloud on a rainy day. Such was the splendor, appearance of the splendor all around. This was the appearance of the likeness of Kavod Adonai. That's the technical term for the Hebrew term for the glory of the Lord, as I was saying a while ago. When I saw it, it's something divine. This is divine. So I fell on my face, and I heard the voice of some speaking. So, the vision of a wheel, mobile, na? Gumagalaw, na wheel, kasama yung creatures. Ano kaya? You could just imagine itong how commentaries would help us to understand. Ito naman yung attempt of the artist to portray, no? in his limited understanding, a wheel within a wheel, kaso dapat apat na wheel eh. And then, naging ano na siya, may hawak na globe, wala naman sinabing ganun, tapos may cross, naging Christian na tuloy yung nakaupo dito. But a better one would be the one portrayed in 1487 sa isang Bible, Italian Bible, by a certain Braccioli, and you would see there let's enlarge it. Apat na wheel. Okay. 4 creatures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each apat din. Pero apat na mukha din. And then you have the dome. And then the throne. May nakaupo. So it's hindi nga lang colored. So you cannot capture the splendor or brightness. Wala ding sound. So but a wheel within a wheel. Even for artists, it's a big challenge to portray that. Let's go now so that's the vision, and we are just introduced the first 2 visions. Mayroon pa siyang mga ibang visions. Let's go now, after that vision, now comes the mission. Siguro ang point dito is, and we have seen that in the Isaiah. You remember, nang tinawag sa Isaiah, mayroon din siyang vision sa temple, okay? Sa halip na cherubim nga nandoon, mga seraphim. Seraph means the burning ones. At ang mga di ba, with the acclamation, holy, 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 doon sa panahon, yung vision ni Isaiah. So we have already somehow that kind of, although maikli lang yung vision ni Isaiah doon, but parang template nung vision ni Ezekiel. He would see the throne, the splendor of the throne, or the glory of God. We have seen that, we have already encountered the word glory of God, the expression, in the journey to Sinai. Remember, yung kasama nila, the glory of the Lord, sa book of Deuteronomy pa. So, hindi totally new yung having that divine vision. Siguro ang point dyan, when you are called, one must have a experience of God, personal experience of God, before you can go to a mission. So, nakita natin ito kay Isaiah, Jeremiah, called from the womb. So, personal experience of being really called, no, by God. No? And who else? Amos, no? He was taken away, no, from his being a noked, a businessman dealing with sheep, so with cattle. So that the importance of having a concrete personal experience with God before you are called to do something, before you go for your mission. So, that could be one explanation, kahit na very elaborate dito yung vision ni Ezekiel. Maybe may mga iba pang ibig sabihin yan, but that is what we can say for tonight, kasi maraming explanation yan eh. The mission, chapters 2 to 3, and when he spoke to me, the Ruach, the wind, or the Spirit, entered into me and set me on my feet. And I heard him speaking to me. Ito na. He does not see, but he hears a voice. He said to me, mortal, in other translation ay son of man. Son of man kasi ginamit doon, which is correct. That's the literal translation. Son of man. Pero pag titignan mo, yung Son of Man, hindi yung katulad na Son of Man ni Jesus na glorious. Pero yung Son of Man dito, ibig sabihin, normal na human being. Mortal, kaya ginamit na mortal sa translation ng New Revised Standard Version. Mortal, tao, I am sending you to the people of Israel, to a nation of rebels who have rebelled against me. They and their ancestors have transgressed against me to this very day. Remember, si Ezekiel, nasa exile, yung mga ibang from Judah now ay nasa exile, although not all yet, kasi may second deportation. And Jeremiah was already saying before that the cause of the exile is nga their sin, the breaking of the covenant. So, here, he is going to remind them why they are being punished that way. He's going to, like Jeremiah, deliver a bad news. And you, mortal, do not be afraid of them. Sabi niya, do not be afraid of their words. Though briars and thorns surrounding you, and you live among scorpions. Yung image na ginamit niya sa mga subayan ng Diyos who are like scorpions now, rebellious people, kasi nga, breaking of the covenant. Do not be afraid of their words, and do not be dismayed at their looks, for they are a rebellious house. I looked, and a hand was stretched out to me, and a written scroll was in it. So may kamay, tapos pinaaabot yung scroll. He spread it before me. It had a writing on the front and on the back. and written back to back, and it written were words of lamentation, mourning, and woe. Yung sinabi ko kanina, parang si Jeremiah, bad news. He said to me, O mortal, eat what is offered to you. Eat this scroll and go speak to the house of Israel. Now, makikita niyo na naman yung symbolism ng eating ng mouth. So, yung prophet, pag tinatawag, nire-refer yung mouth. You remember, pati si Isaiah, no, I'm a man of unclean lips, tapos kumuha ng coal, tapos nilapat doon sa bibig ni Isaiah. Jeremiah also, mouth, and then here, eating of the scroll to the mouth. So, that tells us that the prophet is this mouthpiece, tagapagsalita. No? Siya yung bibig ng Diyos, mouthpiece of kaya messenger of God. No? And so I opened my mouth, and He gave me the scroll to eat. Then I ate it, and in my mouth it was sweet as honey. Meaning, I will accept it. He said to me, mortal, go to the house of Israel and speak my very words to them. But the house of Israel will not listen to you. So, winawarningan siya na hindi yan makikinig sa iyo. For they are not willing to listen to me. Ako nga, hindi pinapakinggan. Ikaw pa. Because all the house of Israel have a hard forehead, stoned ang kanilang forehead, matigas ang kanilang ulo, and stubborn heart. Magtataka ka, ba't niya papadala si Ezekiel doon kung hindi lang pala sila makikinig sa kanya? Hindi naman si Lord mapagbiro. Meaning he is being challenged here, si Ezekiel. Behold, I have made your face hard. So don't worry, kasi ginawa ko naman ang iyong mukha na matigas. You're against their faces. And your forehead, pinatigas ko rin ang iyong ulo against their foreheads. I'm taking from the RSV translation. Like the hardest stone, o diamond, sabi ng ibang translation, harder than flint. Ganun katigas ang ulo ni Ezekiel para ibabangga niya sa ulo ng mga ang bayan ng Israel. I have made your, meaning metaphorical of course, I have made your forehead, do not fear them, or be dismayed at their looks, for they are a rebellious house. So, binibigyan ng Panginoon ng assurance na kaya niya. Kasi kung matigas sila, mas matigas ang iyong ulo, sabi niya. Then go to the Gola, to the exiles, to your people, and speak to them, say to them, thus says the Lord God, whether they hear or refuse to hear. Puntahan mo. Then, the Spirit lifted me up. So, nilipad siya. Hindi naman pwedeng maglakad. Almost 1,000 kilometers yan from Jerusalem to Babylon. So, He lifted me up, and as the glory of the Lord rose from its place, I heard behind me the sound of loud rumbling. So, and it was the sound, hindi yung creatures na naman, brushing against one another, and the sound of the wheels beside them that sounded like a loud rumbling, like an earthquake, sound of an earthquake. Verse 15, and I came to the exiles of Tel Aviv, Babylon, who live by the river Kebar, and I sat there among them, stand for 7 days. So, nandun na siya sa Kebar, to Babylon. Now, his mission to be a sentinel, shomer. At the end of 7 days, so may quarantine ng 7 days, stand in silence. So, 7 days talaga may symbolism na tagal na yung symbolic na number na 7. At the end of 7 days, the word of the Lord came to me, mortal, I have made you a sentinel. I have made you a shomer for the house of Israel. Whenever you hear a word from my mouth, you shall give them warning from me. Nandiyan na naman yung mouth. And warning. Not good news, but warning. If I say to the wicked, you will surely die, at hindi mo bibigyan ng warning, that wicked will die, and from their wicked way, in order to save their life, those wicked persons shall die, but their blood I will require at your hand. Mawa naman si Ezekiel. Kung hindi mo winarningan sila at namatay ang wicked na yan, then may responsibilidad ka sa kanilang pagkamatay. Their blood I will require at your hand. Grabe naman, ang hirap naman itong mission ng propeta na ito. Wawarningan mo sila. Meaning, para magbalik loob. To repent, to turn away from their wickedness. Para to save their life. Pero, pag hindi mo nawarningan sila, and they will surely die from that wickedness, your responsibility. Later on, we will discuss yung responsibility. Kasi, isa sa mga new idea dito ngayon sa mga propeta ay yung personal responsibility, which you can find only in the book of the prophet Ezekiel. That's for next week. Now, verse 19. But if you warn the wicked, and they do not turn from their wickedness, or from their wicked way, they shall die for their iniquity, but you will have saved your life. Pag winarningan mo sila, tapos ganun pa rin ang ginawa nila, relax ka lang. Huwag kang mag-alala. Nawarningan mo sila eh. So, you will save your life. And vice versa. Yung baliktarin mo uli. Ulitin niya uli, but in the different form. Yung righteous naman. Yung righteous, pag hindi mo winarningan, tapos naging wicked yan, may responsibilidad ka. Yung righteous, pag nanatiling righteous, dahil nawarningan mo, you will save your life. So, that's the vice versa niya. So, ang hirap maging shomer. So, napakabigat na responsibilidad pala ang magiging shomer, ang magiging sentinel. Hindi lang yung taga-warning ka, warning. No. Be responsible ka rin. No? If you fail to do that, you will not save your life. No? But, if you warn them, may kalayaan sila na tanggapin yung mensahe mo, hindi, dahil nga stony hearts, then you will save your life. So, personal responsibility na usapan ito, which is a tema sa libro ni Propeta Ezekiel. Here's Jerusalem. Ang bilangan ng milya noon ay statute miles. So, from Jerusalem to Babylon, or to Nippur, another city of the Babylonian Empire, 539 statute miles, or 587 statute miles. I-transmute mo into kilometers, around 867 kilometers distance from Jerusalem to Babylon. Yan yung nilipad. Sabi niya, I was lifted up from here to there. No? So, it was usually, you have to travel for how many months, going up north, then down to the west, to the east. No? So, the vision of a prophet, vision, mission. Now, point number 3 is a little note on ano naman kaya ang buhay ng mga exiles. Wala tayong masyadong record about the life of the Jews in exile. Wala masyado. Except, of course, that we have the literature na naisulat, pero what kind of life they live, hindi tayo masyadong informed in the Golan. May mga ibang indication, like sa Psalm 137, na yung experience ng mga Israelita o mga Hudyo sa exile was initially difficult and humiliating. Maalala niyo itong famous or popular psalm na ito, Salmo, by the rivers of Babylon, inaawit pa nga yan na, there we sat and wept when we remembered Zion. on the poplars that grow there, sing for us a song in Zion. But how can we sing in a foreign land? Parang ganon. So, humiliating yung experience ng exile. But gradually, the Gola, the exiles, those in exile have adjusted to the situation. In fact, Babylonia became one of the most important centers of Jewish life outside of Judah. And doon na rin magsisimula na gagamitin yung Aramaic language. They will learn the Aramaic language there, which will be the lingua franca ng mga Hudyo after the exile, together with the Hebrew language. Pagdating mo kay Jesus, Aramaic language na lang. Use of Babylonian calendars, yung ginagamit na calendar ngayon, yung tinatawag na Nisan, yung iba pang mga dating sa Biblia ay galing sa Babylonian calendar yun. And, most importantly, yung nabanggit ko ito noon, nung diniscuss natin yung Pentateuch, the Torah became very important here. In fact, the theory is that dito na isulat natapos yung Torah, yung Pentateuch. Dito na isulat natapos, na composed, no? So that the Torah became their temple, kasi wala nang ang temple, pero the Torah became their portable temple. Wala na silang temple. Ano pa ang institution? Wala na silang priesthood. Wala nang monarchy. Walang prophets. Kukunti na lang. One of them is identified Ezekiel, and the other one, second Isaiah, which we will discuss after Ezekiel. Sila lang yung ma-mention na prophets in exile. And yung isa pa, theory lang yun. Pero pinaka-clear si Ezekiel na nasa among the exiles. So ano pang naiwang identity ng bayan ng Diyos? What is left sa institution nila, sa religious institution nila, to make them chosen people of God? Wala nang temple, walang Jerusalem, wala nang monarchy, which is very important institution, wala nang land, they are outside of the land, no more promised land, wala na ring priesthood, dahil walang temple, walang sacrifice, walang priesthood. So, ano lang naiwan? Biblia. The written word of God, the Torah, the Pentateuch, which became their portable temple. Life in Judah. Balik tayo sa, ano naman ang nangyayari sa iniwan nilang lugar sa Judah? Ordinary people na iwan doon. Hindi lahat ang dinala lang sa exile ay yung mga maaring mag-aklas laban sa Babylonian Empire. Sundalo, prinsipe, propeta, pari, mga elite. Yung may kaya. Yung mga huy-puloy, masa na tinatawag, no, nasa laylayan ng lipunan, maiwan na kayo dyan. Wala kayong means to wage the revolution or wage war. So, yung tawag sa kanila ay Haaretz. Sorry, wrong spelling. Haaretz. Kung yung nasa exile ay Gola, ang mga naiwan ay Haaretz, ordinary people, the people of the land. Most of them, peasants, people of the land. And sa Jerusalem, ruins. Jerusalem and the temple, wala na. Foreigners moved in. Yung mga kaaway nila, the Edomites moved in. And according to Jeremiah chapter 41, strange worship, morning rise were being done there na sa temple na tahanan ng Diyos doon, strange worship. Ano yung mga strange worship doon? May mga worship na sinusugatan yung mga katawan dito sa temple ruin. So, it has really been, the place is desecrated. Sabihin na lang natin. So, you can just imagine the despair. Last point, the book. The book. Last point for tonight. The book. Yung libro ni Ezekiel, kahit na yung bizarre, yung kanyang vision, no? Organized. Matino. Hindi katulad ni Jeremiah, ang hirap i-organize. Very well organized. Even dates are specified. Sabi ko na kanina. And it opens and closes with majestic visions. Nakita natin. Yung vision na sinabi ko, opening yon. May vision din siya sa bandang dulo. At may dalawang visions pa sa bandang gitna. So, naka-arrange yung mga visions. Isa pa lang na set of vision ang tinakil natin. And the book has a symmetry, balance, and cohesion. Organized nga. Ito yung mga dates. Precise dates na nabanggit doon sa libro ni Propeta Ezekiel. So talagang absolute dating, hindi lang relative dating na around, no. Exact. 4th month of July, 5th day, 4th month of July, 5th. So at end the year, no. So talagang may penchant for dates itong libro ni Propeta Ezekiel. And you can outline the book this way, yung superscription or the title or the introduction, the first 3 verses. And then ito yung diniscuss natin tonight, Ezekiel's vision and call, vision, mission. And then papasok tayo next time sa judgments against Judah and Jerusalem. Ito na yung laman ng kanyang mensahe. These 2 parts here, judgments against Judah, judgments against kingdoms. And then, the end, usual of a prophet, laging may binibitawan sa iniiwan niyang hope, message of hope and restoration. But organized din si Ezekiel. Matatagpuan mo yung message of hope niya sa bandang huli. Hindi katulad ni Jeremiah na sa bandang gitna. Tapos babalik na naman siya sa message of judgment. Pero si Ezekiel, dito na sa bandang huli niya, ilalatag ang kanyang oracles of hope and restoration. This 1, 2, 3, we will discuss next meeting, next Wednesday. Sabi nila sa Hebrew, lehit raot. See you again. Till next Wednesday. So, blessed Easter to everyone. And stay safe po tayong lahat. Ito po si Father Randy Flores ng Sacred Heart Parish 9, Quezon City. At the same time, Biblical Apostolate Director ng Diocese of Cubao and Officer in Charge of the Biblical Apostolate ng SVD Philippine Central Province. Lehit raot till next Wednesday. Bye-bye.